The 2020 Shudder original film, Host, is a great found footage horror film. It's a film that not only has a lot of strengths, but it avoids a lot of the weaknesses of past found footage horror films. In order to get a better understanding of this, we're going to have to talk about some of the films that paved the way. This means that I am going to be spending some time not talking about Host, but talking about other found footage horror films. So make sure you don't stop watching the video. I am going to talk about Host. I just need to talk about these other films first. First, I want to talk about the film that started it all, the 1999 film, The Blair Witch Project. The aspects of the Blair Witch Project that are great are the ones that convinced the audience at the time that the events that happened actually happened. Yes, if the average person was holding a camera and walking through the woods, the camera angles wouldn't be great. Yes, everyday dialogue can sometimes be weird and awkward, and if you're stuck in a forest for several days, you can get pretty pissed off at each other.
You can't laugh in the creek either.
Having the awkward camera angles and somewhat awkward dialogue is a great way of drawing an audience in because that audience member can now easily put themselves into the character's shoes. The Blair Witch Project set the standard for what found footage horror films need to be. The next movie I want to talk about is the 2011 film Megan is Missing. Megan is Missing is what you get when you have a found footage horror film where the main characters are not shooting a documentary. The idea to have the main characters of a found footage horror film not shoot a documentary or film a TV show by itself is a decent idea. However, I feel like this is something that Megan is Missing actually struggled with. In found footage horror films, if you don't have a core reason for why everything has been recorded, then that means that there are going to be certain scenes where you're going to need to invent reasons for why a camera needs to be there. In the Blair Witch Project, the characters were filming a documentary, so it made sense for them to shoot all the footage that they did. However, in the movie Megan is Missing, it's clear that there were certain scenes that were put into the film for the sake of character development. Like, hey, let's just have some random guy at a high school party who, for whatever reason, wants to film everybody. Also, the main character wants to start a video blog for no reason. And I know this was used as a tool by the screenwriters, especially when that main character is walking around their town just willy-nilly filming themselves while being accused of abducting and possibly murdering their best friend. And don't get me wrong, the story that Megan is Missing is trying to tell is a good one, as well as a very chilling story and disturbing one. I wanted to talk about Megan is Missing because it highlights a strategy that a lot of future found footage horror films like to use. This leads me to the next film I want to talk about, Grave Encounters. Unlike the makers of Megan is Missing, the makers of Grave Encounters realized that the best way to get believable camera angles from a whole bunch of places is if the main characters are shooting a TV show. Unlike the Blair Witch Project, which is a bunch of amateur filmmakers trying to shoot a documentary, the main characters of Grave Encounters are all professional filmmakers who are trying to shoot a TV show who happen to have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of video equipment. It's very easy to get all of the cool shots and angles that you could possibly want for a found footage horror film when all the main characters are professional filmmakers. The only issue I have with this strategy is that it's too easy. It's a very easy thing to do, and as a result, it's something that's been done a lot. Even as the years went by and we've gotten more ways to capture video footage, a lot of filmmakers would use this as an excuse to just up the number of camera angles. An excellent example of this is the 2016 film Blair Witch. Blair Witch is just a film where cameras are just attached to everything. Hey, you got glasses? Put a camera on that. You got a jacket? Put a camera on that. Oh look, a branch! Put a camera on that. Movies like the 2016 Blair Witch only add modern technology in order to get all these camera angles instead of using the modern technology to enhance the way the story can be told. In 2018, a found footage thriller would be released that uses modern day technology to enhance the way the story is told. The film I'm referring to is the movie Searching. Searching is very unique in that it's the first film where we as audience members are being shown everything in the story from a computer desktop. The story is told via YouTube videos, Skype calls, Twitter feeds, anything that can be shown on a computer screen. Searching is an excellent film, and telling a story in this way is not an easy thing to do. However, that doesn't mean that Searching doesn't have some of the same issues as the films before. Much like Megan is Missing, Searching has a main character that's not filming a TV show and they're not filming a documentary. Things are made more complicated when you take into consideration that all aspects of the story need to be visually illustrated somehow on a computer screen. So not only does the film need to invent reasons for footage to be shown, but it needs to invent reasons for a computer screen to be used. This is made obvious when the main character of Searching tries to call his daughter, not using his cell phone, but using his computer. This is also made obvious when every conversation he has with a detective about his missing daughter is had through Skype. Why is it that a person would talk to an investigator over Skype? As I've said already, I think Searching is an excellent film, but it still suffers from some of the problems of some of the other films I've mentioned. After I had watched Searching, I was convinced that this was the best a modern found footage film could be. And I am happy to say that I was wrong. The 2020 film Host is an excellent movie. I was surprised at how good the movie Host is. Much like the movie Searching, the movie Host shows us the entire story from the perspective of a computer desktop. However, what's different is that everything is being shown to us through the application Zoom. And believe it or not, Zoom does a lot of things for this film. For starters, it gives the film that element of realism that every found footage film needs. The movie takes place in 2020, where everybody's dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic and most communication is done through Zoom. And anyone living through the pandemic is very used to seeing how Zoom works and can easily get immersed into that element of realism. Zoom also makes it so that the characters don't have to be filming a documentary or a TV show in order to get certain shots. You don't have to wonder why everybody has a camera. You don't have to wonder why people are recording themselves. It's just a bunch of friends in a Zoom call. Using Zoom as the centerpiece of the film seems like a very simple thing to do at face value. However, when you take into consideration all the films that came before it, you realize how significant it really is. It's an excellent film and I highly recommend you watch it if you haven't seen it. And I hope that a film like Host can help pave the way for the future of found footage horror films.